So just now, the starting time. So this session is from 9 a.m. to 10 past, 10 past to 30 past 10. So each presentation is 30 minutes. So as you know, so presentation time is limited to 20 minutes. So as 15 minutes passed, the remaining 5 minutes card will executed. So the remaining 10 minutes will be allocated for discussion time. So this is usual the session chair, but the first speaker. So in this session, 3 presentations are planned, but the final presentation will be given by video presentation. No speaker here, to the third speaker. So the limitation of time, so we just move to my presentation. Thank you. So I recently started to study regional currency and digital currency. So today I will focus on the smart contract on the Ethereum platform. So I was formerly the president of Japan Association for Evolutionary Economics. So we are familiar with the members of organizing committee here. So as the conference stated, so this conference is supported by Japan Association for Evolution. So this is my recent work here. So in this presentation, keywords will be like this. So the presentation will be into 4 subsections. The first three will refer to the landscape of the modern socio-economic system. Second, a simple design of auction on the Ethereum platform. The third, so we will refer to Byzantine general program. Finally, so we give my concluding remarks. So this picture so briefly depict my scope on this society in terms of digital economic system, and in particular in view of the difference of speed. So the third axis measures the speed of time. The peak will be so suggesting the high frequency transaction. So now, so even in the Tokyo Stock Exchange, the settlement speed becoming millisecond. So recently, approaching the microsecond. So on the other side, as for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin, so compared with the high frequency transaction, the settlement speed is quite slow. And so this is the this conference is subject is regional currency and cryptocurrency. So, in particular, here in the area of slow speed. So I mentioned this area, so blockchain and so local currency area. And so the mountains, high mountains, so suggesting the financial field. So on the other side, so this area, so cracking down. So this is a kind of the field of blockchain and so local community. So firstly, so the financial world is quite so famous in this age. But so if we inspect the contribution to GDP of the industry, this is the smallest classification of certain sector. So in view of added value, so in other words, income creation. So the financial world only 30.2% of the whole GDP. So in order to create so national income, so we cannot so depend on the financial activity. And this is a very important point. But so in this case, so because of the very smallest classification, so now this figure means so finance and insurance. If we remove the portion of insurance, the financial contributions will be lower. The same situation in the US, so forth. Maybe double, but within 10%, below 10% of GDP. So, according to Brian Arthur, the famous economist of complexity science, so we borrow this idea from Brian Arthur. The technology, so it's characterized by the modern production, manufacturing. So sometimes may be characterized relaxed static stability. This is the picture of F-35. So these fighters so lacking structural stability. So in the traditional idea, so static stability is quite important. So it is apparent. So in the case of glider, so glider without static stability, so will break down. But so this fighter rather so adopt so relaxed static stability. So Brian is referring to the example of the comparison of tricycle and so bicycle. So of course bicycle, although its property is so unstable compared with tricycle, but so very moving very quickly. So I firstly refer to the fast speed, so high frequency transaction at exchange, stock exchange. So now the speed is marking the millisecond or microsecond. So in this one field, like the high frequency transactions, so we will need so AI control. On the other hand, so because of AI control feasibility, so we can adopt another technology, right? So, in the slow speed domain, so we will need another technology. So, Bitcoin is a good example. So, in the P2P system, peer-to-peer system, so we of course now employing blockchain technology. But so yesterday, some session discussing whether blockchain adoption of blockchain becomes democratic or not. But to my opinion, blockchain technology is only a technology, so irrespective of democracy. So sometimes in manufacturing, so blockchain is employed by checking the non-good rot. So very important sensor technique. So blockchain is only a technology, and this is my point. And also, I'm only given 20 minutes now, the remaining time to 10 minutes, so we must hurry. So we only refer to one property. So as you know, so I must skip the details of smart contract on the Ethereum platform. But it is very important to know on Ethereum platform, so the Turing completeness is held. And this is a big importance. Has a big importance. So we go to the world of P2P transaction. So this is node distribution. So real node distribution. So if you go to the live map here, so you can see current time, so network transaction of Bitcoin. But you have no time. So my point is here. So the process of Bitcoin working as need long distance, so leading to a very long time for propagation. That's the point. So this is a famous picture, which represents the difference of centralized network and on the other side, distributed ledger system. And this table summarizes Bitcoin and blockchain. So the P2P network, so every node or every individual can have their own key, so private. And also we can give another example. So now IBM Japan is very active to provide a service. So IBM exchange, so by the use of blockchain. This is one of the main business of IBM. But today I will skip this because this conference is digital regional currency and local currency. So I already the P2P network in particular, so on the Ethereum platform, so fulfilling, so Turing complete. So the difference Bitcoin and Ethereum, so is so the Ethereum, so Ethereum can add to several information. So Ethereum can accept the accounting information on each node. But the remaining time is 5 minutes. So we'll skip the explanation of smart contract. So unfortunately, I am finally forced to this point. But so this is a very important point. So if you can examine the program of auction, the auction is one of the main central program of economics. But so P2P auction on Ethereum platform. So the most important point is here. Without recognizing this malicious generation by malicious trader here. So without removing this is the most important tag. So in the traditional idea of invisible hand, so always the goodness, sometimes or so ideal rationality. Ideal economic rationality only means so only to good trader existing. But in the smart contract, the most important idea is removing so malicious trade. So unfortunately, limitation of time, so we skip the details of the auction process on the Ethereum. But so this must be noted. And also, I wish to illustrate this program, Byzantine program, but unfortunately, so we are forced to skip Byzantine general program. So almost professional economists, I think so, don't know this program. But so when we employ so P2P system, so without this program, so we cannot operate a P2P system. So the essence of P2P so is like this. 3 traders is actually existing. So we must 10 generals. So this is the essence of Byzantine general program. It is very difficult so to imagine as the number of nodes is included. So without any artificial intelligence, so we cannot imagine the result of P2P system. But so it is helpful to know the result of Byzantine program. So if we have 3 traders, so the remaining 7 general. So despite of failure 3 node failures. So we can operate the good working of the whole system. So finally, so we conclude my remarks. So market is not a given entity, but a designed article. Then market is designed at the basis of existence of malicious participant. Blockchain is simply a possible means to achieve a distributed ledger system to avoid risk emanating from malicious. With P2P network, although it guarantees democracy, will be faced with a huge complex relationship of links and nodes beyond human intelligence to be solved by a new technology like blockchain. Needless to say, distributed network and distributed ledger will be applied not only to smart contracts but also local currency. And this is my conclusion. Thank you. So, about 9 minutes for discussion time. So, please give question. No questions, so I will continue to my talk. It's okay.
It's really complex matter. How can you see the link with the local currency? How can you imagine the use of Bitcoin blockchain, Ethereum blockchain for a complementary currency at local level?
Yes, to my understand. So I am not a professional to complementary currency. So, but if we create a cryptocurrency, right? So the information, the size of information is will become important. So if we go to the Ethereum platform, so which platform accept the accounting, so ledger system, distributed ledger system. So distributed ledger system can accept more information on each node. In the case of Bitcoin, so we cannot accept any information except for the transaction information. So if we employ the distributed ledger system on the Ethereum platform, so this technique will be applied to complementary currency. So that the blockchain application is not does not mean another entity than complementary currency. So I am discussing the application of application of blockchain to local complementary currency. Is it? Thank you. Okay. Another question. So I wish so. So I will touch the problem of democracy. So if we move to the P2P system, so the meaning of democracy is totally changed. Because if the Ethereum sample always providing us with the example of auction and voting. So voting on the P2P system so means that we have no chance. So, in 1950s, the great Kenneth Arnold proved the impossibility of democracy by the impossibility theorem. So democracy is not, so that does not mean the complete idea. But now the P2P voting, so giving us the totally different idea to traditional democracy. This is my point. So, P2P is so similar to the random match. So, another question. So, if you have no further questions, so I will close this session. Thank you. This presentation. Thank you very much. So, next, so Professor New from University of Victoria.
Okay.
So I'm very sorry. So we have technical problems. So but now so we start. So please, Professor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vincenzo Giorgino from the University of Torino, Italy, and I want to introduce you to two research experience in Italy, two European-funded research projects, and the second part, a possible perspective to develop a wise commons-based ecosystem. The first, this slide, I introduced this slide after the presentation of the abstract because I was really very concerned about the climate change, and from that point now on I call it the climate emergency after reading a paper by Jim Bendel the last year. It was published in July 2018, 1 year ago, and it's really it was really a great moment of awareness by my side. I use it with students as well. Climate is on verge of the point of no return from his point of view. The hypothesis, he said, there is one hypothesis, it's too late to restore ex-ante condition, whatever we do. So we have to prepare ourselves to a disaster policy. It doesn't mean that a disaster will happen, but there are some probabilities. What happens in the science circles and in the environmental movement is that everybody denies in papers and in actions the possibility of a disaster. Environmental associations say, if we say that next year or in 12 months, in 1 year time there will be a disaster, all funders will say, this will be the result of, and they will withdraw their funding. Politicians scared about it, and scientists don't like as well because they say, why to scare people for what? What's the consequence? So, and the paper was interesting also from the point of view of sociology of knowledge because I didn't expect that. But there is a real emergency from my point of view. In general, we are facing with a great social transformation. I think, I don't know if we will go to a post-capitalism era, but what we're quite sure, capitalism, we know it, will not be possible in the near future. And for the first time in the human history, we can experience the development of our social and economic system with collective awareness, thanks to the new technologies. One very well-known sociologist, 30 years ago, wrote about emancipatory politics, typical of industrial era, based on democratic parties, socialist, communist parties, trade unions, welfare state, to life politics, was typical of post-industrial era, based on life. And also at individual level in terms of social, cultural, and political perspective. This is the Co-City program that's close to its end in a few months. Is a Urban Innovation Action program of the Horizon 2020 big scientific program led by the municipality of Torino in partnership with the university. It aims to break the circle of poverty, supporting an innovative polycentric common-based urban welfare. There are two main strategies here. One is not technological, it's not so much because there's an unconventional legal framework led by a jurist, Christian Iaione of the Rome University, for the co-management of public estates called Pacts of Collaboration, experimented in Bologna first time some years ago, in Turin, in many other cities, even in the States now, in many cities all around the world. The second part in which I was involved is an ICT platform based on First Life, which is a specific platform, and a digital ledger for the social good. Two main technologies in this program. I will show you something about. This is the second project called CO3, another started in February to digital disruptive technology to co-create, co-produce, and co-manage open public services along with citizens in Athens, Paris, and Turin, in collaboration with private bodies, local institutions, municipalities, and the university as well, and 10 partners from 5 countries, and 4 main technologies. I will just show you 2 slides about First Life and the 3, blockchain and augmented reality, not about liquid feedback because we have no time. First Life is a georeference social network. It's a sort of urban Facebook. Okay, you can put there, you register yourself, you are localized with an address somewhere in the city. And then you can add there picture, videos, calls, you can create groups. All this is public, it's not a private group like in Facebook. So it can be used for the dialogue between the public administration intended as a partner, not as a top hierarchical institution, and citizen. Yes, it responds to the data coordination. It's free, created by the Department of Informatics and Computer Science at the University of Torino by Guido Guella, which is the coordinator of 2 projects. And that's it. It's available in Italian and in English at the moment, maybe other language in French. It's online, firstlife.org. You can use it for your own needs. Blockchain as a distributed ledger technology is the second technology we started using Co-City. Now, in this moment, our technicians, our software developers are developing the wallet. We can, in the group, download the wallet for the first transaction that we will be able to do probably after the end of the Co-City February for next year in the winter time with the CO3 within the CO3 project. In Turin, we inherited from the Co-City a certain number of buildings, abandoned real buildings, real estates owned by the municipality. They will be, in the next month, co-managed with a different third sector association, voluntary association. This association in each building can create their own token, and they can put the token on the blockchain, and people can buy services there. For example, a course of Italian language for refugees, or ethnic cuisine, or whatever you imagine, and people can pay these tokens, and they invent the name of the token in each building with euros and spend this in a specific time. Blockchain, well, when you say blockchain doesn't exist really. We don't have a blockchain. We have different blockchain depending on the protocol. We have Bitcoin blockchain that before Professor, thank you, or Ethereum blockchain, or we have different kind of, after the creation of Ethereum blockchain 5 years ago, we have a lot of other blockchain also not based in competence with, competitive with Ethereum, with different infrastructure. Maybe Ethereum will be the winner of the race. I don't know. But also we have chains, distributed ledger, that are not blockchain based, like holochain. What does it mean? It means, for example, blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain, Ethereum blockchain, means that you have a consensus protocol for which you have to have everybody expressing their consent and receive on the wallet, receive on the wallet the transaction. And this information is there forever. This is contested by the holochain software developer. They say, why one datum should be forever? And why everybody should have this information? If I sell my bicycle to you, somebody else in Italy, somebody else in Japan, in the world should have the same information of this 500 euros, or it's useless. It's useless. This means a huge amount of energy, and this is really anti-ecological. But the logic is a neo-positivistic logic, and the foundation of Bitcoin blockchain. So, software developers are inventing, it's a great invention. It's a great invention because, as we, in the previous presentation, it's a peer-to-peer way to transact, not only to interact. And with smart contracts, we can do almost everything. Wedding, divorces, real estate, selling and buying, even symbolic values, like the internal values we will see right now. We can, maybe better than follow the slide. In this case, we imagine the creation of coupons, loyalty points, like frequent flyer points, sharing token, and voting rights using liquid feedback. That was used, this software was used first by a pirate party in Berlin in some election more than 10 years ago. Authorization to access data, public administration for example, and transaction among Internet of Things devices. Liquid feedback is a deliberation decision-making platform. Augmented reality. It's an environment in which information and virtual objects merge with reality. An expansion of use of our senses, in which virtual elements such as text, image, audio, video devices are combined with real world. But this technology, we elaborate this technology as a commons, as a public, a collective property, not as a consumption. We aim to create augmented common areas nearby, at least in Turin, but as well as Athens, and in Saint-Denis headquarters in Paris, near the buildings of the co-managed with citizens, we create an augmented common area in which virtual, physical, and digital realities converge, a public space for the engagement between citizen and public administration, and citizen to citizen as well. Speaking of balance and here comments, okay, digital operate as a layer place of a public space. Stakeholders use this open space autonomous without control of the public administration. It's a partner like anyone else. Engagement includes voting, making suggestions, and opinion forming through liquid feedback. In practice, ACAs are a unified platform layer with common base of single sign-on process, which means that one account with single sign have access to many software. You don't have to have different password, different access. And augmented reality environment will operate as shared user interface for citizens. First life, liquid feedback, and a blockchain. Gamification is not a platform, it's a methodology. We use also, we experiment with my 110 students, the first gamification experiment a few months ago during a class, during a lecture. So, this is the theoretical part. From my point of view, this is my contribution. We should intend social life as a relational work. We work relationally since we are in the belly of our mommy. And even we don't have identity, we don't have a language. This is tacit language, tacit knowledge is beyond language. And this is interesting from an epistemological point of view for different reasons. In every human activity, there are four basic elements. Distinct social ties, set of interaction, media for this interaction or transaction, like money for selling something to somebody else, and negotiated meanings. Usually economists forget these meanings attached to a specific transaction. And in the commons culture, in the commons, people look at the market economy in favor or against, the state economy, and they try to develop collaborative commons even through blockchains and so on. But no one think about the household core economy, which represents from 1/3, from 30% to 50% of the economy, depending which country and the kind of statistical measurement. This is linked to the importance of life skills. Our society, we know the concept of globalization, but few people know what sociology contributed to individualization. We are a society in which we can put something in common. We create a common-based society, but based on individuals. In this kind, Dame Margaret Thatcher, I spent a word for her. She said, it doesn't exist something called society, just individuals, families, and networks of people. And I agree with her, because the rest of the sentence is not very good. I could add on, but the first part, so we have first modernity, industrial society, and second modernity, that based on individuals, they can cooperate in a new way. With the use of this technology, we can solve the crisis of democratic representation. That we have different kind of populism here and there, and with forms of self-organization, even temporary, like now in Hong Kong, for example, a sort of leaderless organization in Hong Kong around specific issues, rather than a vertical organization. Cultural creatives, the new economy. This is a provocative because in the commons culture, progressive people overvalued market, overvalued state, and have a reductionist view of the market, and the divisive conception of the so-called alternative economy. Why? Because the overvaluation of the market is alongside the formal economy. We have the informal, but what I've said before, household economy. The state, this is interesting, the function of money. Yesterday, another professor stressing the point that following Polanyi, we have a line, Marx, Polanyi, and contemporary thinkers, all of them say that money is a capitalist production, and solidarity and love, good relation are another word, the alternative word. It's not so. We use money with our wife, with our son, children. We use money, we negotiate about money, and negotiate the meaning of money in the transaction. I ended up with Viviana Zelizer as an economic sociologist in Princeton, because with her empirical work, she showed that when economists say that there is a unique model, a self-interest person, agent, it's not true. We are a mix of everything, and it depends on transaction. What is important is we don't focus in this model on individuals, but on more than two, on interactions between two or more individuals. And every currency attached to a circuit of exchange, and every circuit of exchange include a concrete, meaningful social relationship that we have to discover. We don't know it. We cannot, I invite you, don't use pre-classificatory concepts to understand economic reality, but to ask for, what are you doing here? What is this? It's a sort of generative methodology. Grounded theory is very good for that. I have 1 minute.
No,
and
so
my,
you can continue.
1 minute. The theories of hostile words is dominating probably also in this conference.
So may I ask you? So
Can I finish?
You can continue to speak. So
Yes.
So I have a question. So the present definition money. So
Money.
and also complementary money. So also you fulfill the condition, the proper unit. So any money, your definition. So,
The definition,
any money can give
any money, there doesn't exist special money, complementary currency, because it's based on solidarity, because you decided so. People use it for whatever reason they want.
I give so few minutes to speak.
Okay, thank you. So theories of hostile words is dominant in the progressive culture, and this is really a mindset we should change. We should change ourselves. We have technological power today, we have economic power, but we need a change at cultural level. It is a personal transformation, I think. No one can do it for you. According to these theories, there are two distinct arenas of economic activity. One based on calculation and efficiency, and the other one confused about love, relations, which are not irrational. In the economic sphere, emotion generally favoritism efficiency, while in the intimate sphere, rationality destroys solidarity. This is not true. This is not true. And you know it from your own life. But when you study, you change your mind and you become schizophrenic. And so, take care of your possible mental disease, because it's dangerous for your health. Okay, I repeat this one. I don't remember why I put a relation, creating boundaries. People create boundaries, destroy boundaries, or reinforce boundaries, or create new one with money. With fiat money, dollar, euros, yen, not complementary. They do already, and they will do the same with the complementary currency. They know. Money and other media are defined as flexible adaptation to multiple social ties, rather than means that inevitably conform to their identical exchange laws. They don't exist. Erecting boundary, they are all examples for empirical research about, we don't have time. Bitcoin blockchain. Okay, this is the last, the inactive approach. I found that we should have a body-based, a mind-body-based approach to knowledge. And from me, come from Francisco Varela, a neurobiologist, started this in activism. The bodily life regulation is crucial for cognition. The social sensory motor interaction be a constitutive part of social cognition. And think about it, we are not in information society, we are in an attention society, attention economy. Because information and knowledge is widespread, corporation, political parties, and the commoners have to attract the attention of people to select. And attention is something that we do not only with our brain, with our body. We're attracted with emotion, but through emotion, etc. So we need a knowledge, an active, non-representational, inactive. Francisco Varela created the concept of coupling. There is no reality out there that I observe. Reality is constructed on both sides, embodied in our body, embedded in context, and expanded. Expanded means that we can have a collective intelligence. In the past, books, artworks, etc., collaborate to create what Karl Marx called general intelligence, the Grundrisse, and now could be the blockchain, augmented reality, all this digital technology can be a way to this. So we can have a different kind of Facebook, different kind of Uber or Airbnb, not based on a corporate vertical control of the platform and of the, okay? Cultivating soft skills, attention as a soft and life skills. I intend the soft skills like the ability to relational work. Some of us are more able to have relational work than others. Life skills, attention life skills come from the contemplative knowledge. You may say, what is it? Religions? Yes, come from religion, but now, thanks to mindfulness movement, we're converted what is the great traditions of wisdom from Buddhism, Indo-Vedic tradition as well, in contemplative practice, lay secular practice. I introduce my students to meditation, and others do at the School of Medicine, here and there, without any religious content. And they work. People stay. It's not, what the problem of mindfulness is too individualistic. Maybe it's not the original model of John Kabat-Zinn, but, and this is practical wisdom, not knowing, and transdisciplinarity. I have a Japanese word, sorry, just this Japanese word that I like very much, but I have to read the last, thank you. This is my book last year called Design Economic Transition. And from this moment, the spare hands and tactics begins, because we can assume what Japanese called, sorry, because I read, that's Suzoku, which means freed from habits. That's Suzoku. That's right. That's Zoku.
Ah, that's
Suzoku. Because in Latin, fortuna audaces juvat. Fortune helps brave people. Fortuna audaces juvat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, one question. Please.
How do you define the commons with the pacts of collaboration?
How I define, sorry?
The commons?
The commons? The commons is a way to manage collectively a resource that could be owned by this collective, this kind of, or private bodies or public bodies, state. But you, in that group, are able to manage it collectively with your own rules created by the community.
So it could be natural resources.
Natural resources or the internet, digital resources. In the case of internet, natural resources have the problem of the more people you have and the less resources you have. In the case of digital, it's the other way around. The more you have and more successful, this is why you don't leave Facebook. Say, shit, after Cambridge Analytica, I leave Facebook. You stay alone, you talk to yourself. Because so you get a new one. So there is, it's not capitalism. I don't think capitalism is extractive. They extract value from, but they are able to create the condition of that. We are not able to cooperate, even in this room, for deciding what to eat in a couple of hours, you know. But they are able to convince us, not with force or violence, usually, but with incentives. And you say, oh, economic life should be based on solidarity and love. Yes. Now, when we go out, we have to clean here. No, no money, no salary, because you know, who stay here to clean? I go, sorry, it's time to eat. Or if I clean, tomorrow you clean. Can I trust you? And you, no, I'll go to the States tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, yes, and you fly. So it's very complicated. Even in our relationship, we are not based on solidarity. It's not true.
Yeah.
And we are not based on self-interest. We are mixed. How to understand this confusing situation? Just asking. Ask. Don't have preconceived scheme. In any discipline, as they say.
Time must be gone. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
More questions?
Thanks.